Hey everybody, how's it going? In this video we're going to go over my arcane build that I have. Now, this build kind of rotates around two pieces, so I'll quickly show you those. The first one is a wand that Ether Walker, and teleport no longer has a cooldown but costs 25 arcane power. Now that makes the wizard kind of play like how they did in Diablo 2. Once you got to a certain point, you could essentially teleport wherever you want. Well, this pretty much makes it like that, but also it gives you could use runes to change that up. And then the second piece I have is Mirror Ball. If you're going to use this, make sure to wait until you get the magic missiles fire 2 extra missiles. The first one I got only fired 1, and that's, I mean, it doubles your damage of course, but this is the cat's meow with 2 extra missiles. So this makes magic missile actually usable. Otherwise it's not that good. Maybe the fireball one, and we'll get into that later, but this is a great damage increase if you're going to be using magic missile. This is a must-have for magic missile if you're a fan of it. Otherwise, let's get to the skills. Of course, primary magic missile I'm using, because it's arcane, Seeker. This way the missiles actually seek their targets. Any nearest target really is just a real low chance for them to ever miss. You can also go with Charge Blast, but then they don't seek, so you have a chance for missing, but this does huge damage, especially up close. Typically you'll hit with all 3 up close. At range you might get 2 off. I went with Seeker because you will hit with all 3 every time. There's a damage loss, but then also if you miss one, then there's a damage gain, so it's just the give-take. Secondary is Disintegrate, and I decided to go with Chaos Nexus. There are like Volatility is a great one, especially if you're doing or attacking enemies that die easily. This will just make them blow up. This is a great one. But for this build I went with Chaos Nexus because then it shoots these short range beams at nearby targets, and this works really well for what I'm going to be doing with this build. Since I'm going to be up close a lot, but then also CCing. So I went Disintegrate, Chaos Nexus. I have Force, Wave of Force. So this essentially centers a blast wave around me. I went with Debilitating Force. I could have went with Damage Increase, but really if you're playing with groups or if you're a little squishy, you definitely want to go with Debilitating Force because it reduces the damage enemies you hit with it. So when you're around a big group, you hit them with this, they'll do less damage, you'll be more powerful, or well, less squishy. Conjuration Familiar. Now I went with Arcanaut. I mean, of course it does shoot a fireball or arcane ball for 240 damage, so it's a little buff, but then Arcanaut gives you a 4.5 arcane power every second for regen. So with this build you want to be doing everything fast. I wanted good arcane power regeneration, so I went with that. Magic weapon I went with just a 20% increase with force weapon, so that's a great damage boost for everything. Finally, defensive, because of the wand I went with Calamity. Calamity is another arcane spell, and then wherever you teleport to, it'll have a short range wave of force, and also has a stun, and now that stun is huge. Typically it will stun almost every time. There's really no cooldown for it. I mean, of course there kind of is. I don't know. I haven't really figured it out, but it's really powerful for CCing. And then that combined with the other wave of force that reduces damage, you'll stun, reduce damage, and then be hitting them and damaging them before they can even do anything. So that's a big one. You could use it a lot. And then my passive skills, I have Temporal Flux. Now this is another CC, and enemies that you touch with Arcane are slowed by 80%. So as you see, there's a lot of CCs here. And also it's good because you're going to be right in the middle of everything to do the most damage. But Temporal Flux, of course. I went with Prodigy, so whenever I use Magic Missile, which does a lot of damage, it'll do about 10 million if they all crit, which ain't bad at all, and I cast it like crazy. It doesn't cost anything. But I went with Prodigy for when I use a lot of Disintegrate, Wave of Force, and teleports. Third, Astral Presence. This of course gives me more arcane power regen, 2.5, and then also more of a pool, so I'm up at 134 with that, and I believe the ball gives me an extra 14. Finally, Blurred, make me a little more tough. So right now I am at 1.35 million damage. Toughness is actually pretty low, 5.2, but that That's not too bad because, of course, the stuns, slow CCs, you get away real fast. And with unlimited teleports, it's not bad at all. Healing, not so good either. But critical hit chance, 57%. Critical hit damage, almost 500. I could probably get that up with some different... if I was able to not transmo, but... Well, anyway, you know what I mean. So I could change some stats over. See, like my gloves, I could probably get that up another 10% on these. But for right now, it works fine. And I also went with area damage. I do like being able to occasionally hit for, you know, a decent amount of damage on everybody. And that electrocute, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that guy right there. Otherwise, that's about it. Nothing else real special. Oh, also my legendary gems. I have 3 of them. I have 2 damage over times, of course the poison, and I'm trying to get that to 25. Takes a little bit. The bleed on criticals, I'll put down to bleed, so that's worth, I don't know, I haven't done the math as of lately. That's 280 a second, that's about 500, so that's 780. And then also Teardrop of Star Weaver. This sometimes crits for about 25 million. When I hit with that, this would be also a pretty damn good one to have at 25. All 3 of them would be real good, but that does take a while, a lot of grinding. So I don't know if I'm going to have those in the near future, but otherwise pretty standard. Just pretty much going for crit. And oh, this is a nice belt too, the Witching Hour. I didn't really know this existed until I dropped, and all of a sudden I seen the crit hit damage, and I was like, new belt that I'm always going to use. Otherwise, I just got the 2-piece set bonus for Buyers, 500 intelligence, not bad, along with the full high-level gems, which are a bitch to get. It's ridiculous. I mean, you see, that's all I have left. This is how many around how many I started with. That's what I have left, on top of all the Imperials that I got, and then tens of millions of dollars just to get that. And I probably got it around Paragon 170, I think. It takes a long time. This is a seasonal character, by the way. So anyway, that's my character, so let's quickly see what he can do. And let's go to somewhere easy. So if you watch all my videos, I always use the Weeping Hollow because there's big groups of enemies that are move real slow and they're not too daunting. It's just good for the videos. So anyway, all you really want to do is just teleport in, use your short range. And you can actually do this really fast. See, like these guys, just teleport in, use that, use your disintegrate, and then your disintegrate will hit everything, so all the weaker enemies will die. So concentrate fire on the harder enemies with that, and not the weaker enemies. But it is a very fast build. You can move across maps very quickly. As you see, I'm not using really any arcane power to move around the map like this. And then this is the magic missile, so I'll use that for a minute. It gets really powerful. And then also you could change this out. I do use arcane just because it's an arcane build, but you can use fire, and fire is very powerful with this ball because it passes through all enemies, and then it also ignites them on fire, and it stacks. But then since you're firing 3, that stack essentially goes all the way up. Also, you can use instead of disintegrate on tougher mobs, you can just use magic missile. It will destroy them really fast. But typically I use disintegrate until there's only about 1 enemy left, just because you get that extra. But like I said, this is actually one of my favorite builds. I was working on this, and I like how everything kind of ties together as far as the CCs, the quickness of it. Great farming build. Also works really well in groups, because since you have so many CCs, you could just pop in, stun. If an enemy is about to, or the elite mob is about to do something really damaging, you could stun them real fast. They'll stop it. They're really helpful in groups, and also you do a lot of damage too. So It's, you know, you got the best of everything pretty much. Oh, that was great. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and found this useful, and really, to get this, you do really want those two pieces though. They're not too hard to find. I've came across a couple mirror balls and a couple of ether walkers, however you want to pronounce it. Hey, sorry for the, my audio got a little funny at this point, so I had to actually add this in. I'm sure it sounds way different because I have to use two different mics because of my setup. I need to get all new shit, but otherwise it works okay. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you found this useful. So thank you, and check out my next videos. Thanks a lot, bye. Alright, Dad, this after reviewing it, I sound like two completely different fucking people. It's just the deepness of my voice is totally lost using this microphone, but it sounds so much clearer. That's fucking hilarious. Anyway, I hope you got a laugh if you watched my video all the way to the end. Again, thank you for watching. Have a good one.